So Dave, welcome to the program. I am just amazed as I'm going through the list here that just came out from the first round of the 2020 version of FRAXA BioTechGames. And the list just goes on and on and on, some 30 to 40 teams competing, which is a couple hundred people from the sounds of it. What did you think of that first round?
It was awesome. I mean, just seeing everybody, I know we're doing it a different way this year because we're not outside like we'd like to be, but we pivoted and it seemed like they had a great time. And for me, it was just great to see people coming together online.
Yeah, and certainly it is, you talk about pivots, but this was sports, people coming together for trivia contests. I'm just taking a look at the teams. You've got something like Ecolicious in there. And then we've got Hail Hydra. And, I somehow sense a competition between the two, one being Synlogic and the other a ginkgo company. But I got to put my money, at least for a moment, on Aoife, because she came out of Trinity College in Dublin. And that's near and dear to me these days. And, we all love those Dublin-based companies. And so that's pretty cool. So what do these guys do? They do it together.
Well, I'm not surprised that those two will be amongst the leaders because they take this very seriously. So they're partners, but they do love to compete against one another. So they came in first and second last year, and of course, Ginkgo has an $80 million investment into Synlogic. So they are true partners in the world of drug development.
That's great, but there's also this Praxis group, and they've been here all 3 years. They know the rule, the basics. They know what they're up against. So
they do, and they're a neurology company. And as you remember, the first year, Karan Reddy, we have a video of him talking about how he cares about it, and he loves the FRAXA BioTechGames. And so they've been here all 3 years, so I'm not surprised. So I wouldn't count them out.
All right, because we got like stack rankings down to 38. I don't want anybody to be nervous at the bottom part of that list thinking that they're in some little bonus rounds here that they might help them win something.
Well, no, if you think about it, it's like the Olympics, right? It's like we're going to keep scores going. So you're never out of it. And so there might be some bonus points next week and things like that. So, don't count out the one in the 38th place is not out of it yet.
I just want to be sure because otherwise it's a lot of blood, sweat, and cheers. And I think that also is a team name, some blueprint company. What, Blueprint for Success?
Oh, Blueprint Medicines, another great company. Well, they're a precision medicine company, so I'm guessing that's the nature of their creative team name. But they just had a recent approval for a lung cancer treatment last week, so that's pretty exciting. So I think they're revved up.
All right, and then I noticed a couple things. One was Retrofin. Diego to the other coast. What's happening there?
Well, I think you saw them. I mean, they came to play. They're changing.
They came to win.
Yeah, and it's rare disease company, right? So they care about this, and so they would love to have their name etched on that cup.
I like that a lot. And speaking of cups, you can't get around the fact that New York Bio is coming out of a real strong position. Quietly, they got millions of dollars between the city and the state when I was there covering some events 2 years ago. Now, what are these guys doing? And I do know there's a Rich Bendis involved. He's chasing me on LinkedIn.
He's actually in Maryland.
Maryland?
But New York.
We got Maryland and New York coming at us. What is this?
Jennifer Bland, the CEO of New York Bio. And of course, it's kind of like that Yankees-Red Sox thing, right? So you got the Boston and New York. And so once they heard about, Mass Bio was behind it, they're like, well, we better jump in. And I think they really would like to bring that thing and drive it down like Broadway, with a cup, right? Which
is why all of a sudden the Capital District flies in there too. Easy for me to get my names confused. Good thing that you're in there on all the business.
You saw Rich's video.
I did.
I mean, they came to play, and so the biohealth capital region, they have a goal to be the #3 biohealth hub by 2023. So watch out for those guys. So they could take the cup down there too.
So you've got New York, you've got Capital Region, you've got San Diego, you've got Boston as a home base. It's opened this thing up to being basically a global opportunity for life sciences and getting together. You've got a slogan that goes with that, don't you? When biotechs get together?
when biotech companies gather, good things happen.
That's a really
And I
good.
think the Boston, by the way, so remember, between Synlogic and Constellation and Voyager and Blueprint and Delping Feng's lab and Jeannie Lee's at Harvard, we got a lot of Boston competitors in there. So it's going to be tough for these, these other people to pull that thing out of Boston.
I wouldn't count anybody out at this point, and it's a great, strong team. What are we? More than a dozen volunteers making these things happen. I do have to say, watching the games and getting involved on some of the side rooms and the breakouts that took place, watching Ian O'Brien, Morgan Stanley guy from the BST group, he really pulled that room together, and you got some interesting things going on. And not minutes later, you've got Eric Rochford, who was running one class act as you looked at people going through the communication side, meeting each other. I thought that was kind of a brilliant move on his part. And then, of course, the other real key, when you look at people who are sponsors working with volunteers here, these folks are great. And Sylvia, who, is like your sidekick between those three. You've really got quite a core team of others as well. But I wanted to call those folks out because of just what I saw in the rooms. Pretty impressive.
And I'm glad you pointed that out, because this year, because we had to make such a big change to the FRAXA BioTechGames, people like Morgan Stanley and Eric and Sylvia, who are the co-chairs, they really helped pull things together, and it really made me, as one of the co-founders, really lean in. I say lean in to the people who care about what I'm doing. So the Morgan Stanleys and Zynerbas and Ropes and Gray and others, who have been sponsors and have volunteered to help. So much gratitude to all of them.
Powerful team, and I'm sure there'll be a lot more coming out this week as we get to round 2. So thanks for spending the time today. And again, I guess in your words, when biotechs get together, good things happen. Thank you, Dave.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Keith. I really appreciate it. And thank you for all that you do to help out as well. So let's make sure you get a shout out too.